aneurysm.
Whoa.
They're like, just stress. And I'm like,
Why the is this?
Okay, y'all, buckle up because this tea is piping hot and we've got a lot to unpack today. Kim Kardashian just came out swinging, and honey, she is not holding back anymore. Like, at all. She's out here exposing Kanye West, and I'm talking full exposure mode, claiming he literally gave her a brain disease that almost took her out. Like, we're talking life or death situation, people. This isn't some little drama. This is serious. Now, Kim says her mental and physical health went completely downhill during and after their marriage. And fans, baby, they are shook. Like, absolutely floored. Because how do you even give someone a brain illness? Like, what kind of toxic energy are we talking about here? What was happening behind closed doors that we didn't see? It's getting wild, and honestly, I don't even know where to start because this story has so many layers. But wait, because honey, it gets messier. Way messier. So while Kanye was all over Twitter and Instagram crying about how Kim was keeping their kids away from him, making himself look like this heartbroken dad who just wanted to see his children, reports are now saying he barely even tried to see them. Like, sir, where were you? Because Kim was apparently right there, available, with a co-parenting plan in place. And the few times he did make an effort, he allegedly turned it into a whole PR stunt, getting his fans to attack Kim online and paint her as this terrible, controlling mother who was weaponizing the kids against him. Meanwhile, Kim was out here doing all the parenting by herself, managing 4 kids, their schedules, their emotions, their lives, and her own health falling apart at the seams. Like, she was the only one actually showing up. The math ain't mathing, Kanye. It's giving absent parent energy, and I'm sorry, but someone had to say it. Now let's talk about what Kim was really dealing with behind the scenes, because this is where things get heartbreaking. Her mental health, completely destroyed during that marriage, like obliterated. And when the divorce hit, her body started breaking down too. Y'all remember she was diagnosed with psoriasis back in 2011, right?
But it's psoriasis.
Psoriasis? I cannot have psoriasis. When the doctor tells me I have psoriasis, I have heard of it before because my mom has always had it. But, you know, my mom didn't have like red flaky dots all over her.
There are a whole bunch of things that influence this. Stress, food, water, diet, travel has a lot to do with it. May not be curable, but it's controllable.
Not curable?
It's not curable because you can't alter the genetics.
I mean, my career is doing ad campaigns and swimsuit photo shoots. People don't understand the pressure on me to look perfect. When I gain a pound, it's in the headlines. Imagine what the tabloids would do to me if they saw all these spots. I'm not gonna get it on my face, am I?
Well, but I think the number one way that you can help yourself is to try to sort of lead an easier, slower-paced life.
That's just not possible.
It's an autoimmune condition that causes painful, itchy skin flare-ups. Well, doctors told her back then to avoid stress and live a calm, slow-paced life to keep it under control. And honey, being married to Kanye West, that was the opposite of calm. Like, that man made stress-free impossible. Between his public outbursts, his unpredictable behavior, and the constant drama, Kim's life was anything but peaceful. And here's where it gets even crazier, y'all. Kim said her psoriasis had been dormant for years, like completely inactive. She had it managed under control, living her best life. But the second the divorce started, it came back with a vengeance. She literally said, and I quote, "I haven't had psoriasis since I got divorced, and it just started coming back." But y'all, it didn't stop there. Not even close. Around the same time her psoriasis flared up, she developed psoriatic arthritis. For those who don't know, that's when the inflammation from psoriasis attacks your joints. We're talking swelling, pain, stiffness, parts of her body not even being able to move properly. Imagine dealing with that level of physical pain while also being publicly dragged and humiliated by your ex-husband. So now she's dealing with Kanye publicly trashing her body literally giving out on her, and emotional breakdowns.
Yeah, no, mine came on when I turned 30 years old, and I remember it so clearly because it was my nephew Mason's birthday party, I think his first or second birthday, and we were at my mom's house and I was wearing a short skirt, and I remember going out in New York and I wore this like silver sequin dress and it was itchy. And I thought it was like just a rash from the dress because it came that night. And then I got home, saw my mom at the birthday party, and she looked at my legs and goes, "Oh my God, you have psoriasis."
Oh,
and I said, "No, I don't."
Like, Kris Jenner, MD.
I was like, "No, I don't. Like, it's just I wore this really itchy dress." And she was like, "No, you absolutely do." And there was I was living in this apartment. And
were you living in New York?
No, I was living in LA, right near Robertson. And someone in my building was a dermatologist. And I saw him in the elevator and I said, "Hey, do you think this looks like psoriasis to you?" And he goes, "Yes, but you probably got it from getting a cold, from traveling or something, and it like brought it out of you." And I think I took a medication.
You diagnosed her
with psoriatic arthritis.
At that point. First was psoriasis, then it was the arthritis.
Right.
The arthritis, I have a niece who was diagnosed with it. There was a lot of confusion, whether it was psoriasis or lupus causing the joint pain.
Because
Why is it so confusing for
Because
people?
people with psoriasis can have false positive lupus blood tests.
I had a false positive blood test.
Yeah.
When I started to get a little bit desperate was when it started to cover my face, and there was a spot really close to my eye, and it would just burn a little bit. And I remember I had the Met Ball coming up that week, and it was covering my face. And
You can get eye involvement like conjunctivitis. And
Right. It can just,
it can be systemic. It can affect the organs. It can affect the heart.
no, I remember that's when I first met Dr. Wallace.
Your hands were swollen.
Yeah. And I went to bed one night. My phone was by the side of my bed. I never checked my phone at night, ever. And I never used the restroom in the middle of the night, but I got up to use the restroom, couldn't go back to bed. So I grabbed my phone, and I couldn't really pick up my phone. It hurt so much to use my hands that night. And I thought, oh, I must have slept on my hand and it's a little numb or something. And I went back to bed, woke up the next day, it was still like that. And I remember I was doing Jimmy Kimmel, and he was in Vegas. And I was like, my ankles were really hurting. And it was just my joints. And I thought, what is this? This is
all at once. Like, can this woman catch a break? Now hold on, because baby, it gets worse. So much worse. In a recent episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Kim dropped an absolute bomb on everyone. She revealed she developed a brain aneurysm from the extreme stress of the divorce. A whole brain aneurysm, y'all. Let that sink in for a second. An aneurysm is basically a bulge in a blood vessel in your brain that can burst and cause life-threatening bleeding. Now, hers hasn't ruptured yet, so it's manageable for now.
Oh, aneurysm? Whoa. They're like, just stress. And I'm like,
Why the is this?
People think that I have the luxury of walking away.
Kardashian recently revealed that she was unfortunately diagnosed with a brain aneurysm, which is a condition that can sound frightening, but is more common than people think. It forms when a weak spot develops in a blood vessel in the brain and slowly balloons outward, like a thin patch on a worn balloon. Most aneurysms remain harmless and are found by accident, but if one ruptures, it can cause bleeding around the brain, which is called a subarachnoid hemorrhage, which can be life-threatening. Certain factors make aneurysms more likely to form or rupture, including high blood pressure, smoking, and family history. They're usually detected through MRI or CT angiography and treated with careful monitoring, surgical clipping, or coiling. Have you ever known someone who's had one? Let me know in the comments and follow them for your health IQ.
But if she's not careful, if the stress continues, if it gets worse, this could literally become life-threatening. Like, we're talking serious stuff here. This isn't just about drama anymore. This is about Kim's actual life being at risk. So naturally, Kim is done playing nice. She is done being quiet. She is done protecting Kanye's image while her own health crumbles. She finally clapped back at Kanye for all those lies he spread. You know, the whole Kim abandoned me and she's keeping me from my kids narrative that he pushed so hard online. She made it crystal clear. No matter what, no matter how messy things get, they have to deal with each other because they share 4 children together. That's just facts. Those kids need both parents, and she's not trying to erase him, but she's also not about to let him rewrite history and make her the villain. And get this, after the divorce, they had a co-parenting plan worked out. They sat down, they talked, they agreed on terms. Kanye even bought a house right near her specifically to be close to the kids and make co-parenting easier. Sounds sweet and responsible, right? Wrong. Because allegedly he ignored the whole plan, ran off with Bianca, started his whole new life, and then flipped the script to make Kim look like the villain who was keeping him away.
So my job as a mom is to just make sure that at a time when that behavior is happening is just to make sure that they are protected. As much as people think that I have the luxury of walking away and not dealing ever again, that's not my reality. This person, we have 4 kids together. Very confusing because it'll be all this talk on the internet of like, I'm keeping the kids. He's never once called and asked, but then I'll wake up and it's on Twitter that I'm keeping the kids. So it's just when it's not true and not rational, I just have to I can't engage all the time. Not a kidnapping. We haven't left. We're in the same spot. We have the same address, so he knows where his kids are at. What happened to the house that you bought next door and we were gonna like co-parent and do it like back and forth and you take him to school every day? I was like, have dinner with us every night. Let's have dinner as a family every night. And obviously it was just, that wasn't what he wanted. And I get that. Maybe that's too much.
Does he ever apologize?
No.
Like, sir, you chose to leave. You chose to not follow the plan, but somehow Kim's the bad guy? Make it make sense. And honey, this is the first time Kim has come out publicly with this much detail, this much emotion, and this much fire. She is fed up. She's not tolerating his behavior anymore. She's not staying silent to keep the peace, and she wants to clear her name once and for all. She straight up blamed him for her brain aneurysm and her psoriasis coming back. That's how deep this man affected her health, y'all. She's saying her body broke down because of the stress he caused. That's a massive claim, and she's standing by it. But here's the thing, and this is where it gets really complicated. The public? They're not all convinced. Like, at all. A lot of people aren't buying what Kim's selling. Critics are out here saying she's just trying to rewrite the narrative and play victim for sympathy and attention. They're accusing her of using her platform and her health struggles to manipulate public opinion and make Kanye look worse than he already does. The comments are ruthless, y'all. People are saying stuff like, Kim, you snatched him and his money when he was at his lowest. Now you're rewriting history to look innocent. And she's just trying to trigger that mentally ill man again for clout and ratings. Some are even saying, why is she bringing this up now? Sounds like perfect timing for her show's ratings. Ouch. Like, those comments are harsh and they're everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. People are not letting her off easy. But then there are others who completely believe her. They're saying her body doesn't lie, that the stress she went through is literally showing up physically in the form of psoriasis, arthritis, and a brain aneurysm. And that's proof enough that she's telling the truth. They're pointing out that autoimmune diseases and aneurysms are scientifically linked to extreme stress, so her story actually makes medical sense. Plus, they're reminding everyone that Kanye's behavior during and after the divorce was absolutely chaotic in public, so it's not hard to believe that Kim was suffering behind the scenes. So here's where we're at with all of this. Kim's painting Kanye as this toxic, emotionally damaging, and destabilizing force in her life. She's saying he didn't just hurt her emotionally, he literally damaged her physical health to the point where she almost died. That's a big accusation. But not everyone's convinced she's being 100% honest. Some people think she's the victim here, that she endured way more than anyone realized, and that she deserves sympathy and support. Others think she's playing games, manipulating the narrative, and using her health as a weapon to gain public favor and destroy Kanye's image even more. The truth? It's probably somewhere in the middle, like it always is. Relationships are messy. Divorces are messier. And when you add fame, mental health struggles, kids, and the internet into the mix, it's a whole disaster waiting to happen. But one thing's for sure, this story is far from over. Kim's finally speaking out, Kanye's probably going to respond at some point, and the public is divided as ever. The drama is far from done, and honestly, I have a feeling we're going to see a lot more come out in the next few weeks. Now, what do y'all think? Is Kim telling the truth about Kanye causing her health problems? Or is she just playing the victim card again to control the narrative? Do you think stress can really cause a brain aneurysm? Or is she exaggerating for sympathy? And what about Kanye? Is he really the villain here? Or is there more to his side of the story that we haven't heard yet? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I need to know where you stand on this one. Are you Team Kim, Team Kanye, or Team they're both messy and I'm just here for the drama? Let me know. Hit that subscribe button if you want more tea like this. And make sure you stay tuned because you know this story isn't over. More tea is definitely coming. And when it does, we'll be right here to spill it all. Catch you in the next one.